Okay. Good good evening everybody. Good evening. I figured I should do this video and just explain certain things to you guys so you guys are at least aware. So, all right. I'm going to give you a story. Now, this is a true story. This is not where I make up names or etc. I'm just going to explain the whole story to you. So, during this pandemic, Trump's relatives had fraud. Donald Trump's family had fraud. And there was a person by the name of Harold Peterson. And Harold Peterson was United States Marshal. This is where I'm going to try and explain to you the whole story of this matter that has to do with God's relatives and etc. So, I had spoken to Rabbi Mark Rubenstein, and then I spoke to certain people that are on both sides of the fence. On one side of the fence is the Illuminati. On the other side of the fence is the Cabal with the K. The Cabal with the K, which is the Judaism faith. Now, let me explain to you something. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Now, on one side of my family is the Gateshin family. On the other side of the family is the Grantners. So, I'm going to explain something to you guys so you're at least aware. So, when I was a lot younger, that person you call Satan, her agents, challenged me to a Forbidden Games match. Means a deck of cards. Now, this person, when I was talking before in Las Vegas, and I was talking about places in Europe with the casino business. Now, I'm going to explain the whole thing with these deck of cards and etc. with these cards. I'm not going to take them out, but I'm just going to explain. When you sell your soul, it's a 500-page document. Let me repeat that. When Satan, Lucifer, those agents, those people that are in what you call Halil's organization, means Satan, Lucifer. When those people make a deal, they have to give you the 500 pages. That 500 pages was in document or books like this. So there are books like this in the Vatican Apostolate Library. Books like this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pointing to the book, that exists where they have books like this, except it's the one for Lucifer or it's the one for Satan, where they explain how a soul contract works. Now, let me explain to you why I'm explaining this to you. Number one, that person that's a crossroads demon, that person that's Wiccan, let me explain to you. When I learned this in college, you need to be certified in that field. You need to be licensed in that field. You need to have an ID, like a deck of cards, that says you're so-and-so, your name. It says what rank you are. You have to, in other words, with those people in that faith, they have to identify themselves. If they don't identify themselves, they're not who they say they are, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the reason why I have a deck of cards that is white is there's a difference between a soul contract that's a magical contract and a soul contract that's the one where it's Halil's relatives. Now, how I found out about this is I found out about my family history. Those people in both sides of my family tried to give my relatives a story. They had to tell me the truth. So, you guys are, ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing Kim Kardashian, and you're seeing all these videos, all these things with Kim Kardashian and the whole knot. Let me explain to you something. My honest opinion, that incident that happened with Kim was a humiliation ritual. Now, in those organizations with Satan, Lucifer, Belphegor, the Leviathan, are they allowed to do humiliation rituals? The answer to that question is no. They are not allowed to do that. Let me repeat that. They are not allowed to do that at any point. So if somebody says to you, hey, I'm Sarah, and let's just say I'm making up a fictitious name. I'm Sarah, and I'm in the Illuminati, and I'm selling you a soul contract. She's not in the Illuminati, ladies and gentlemen, because people that are in that organization, they don't get associated. Now, here's another thing that I'm going to also explain. The people that are in this organization, the Wiccan Order, they're not in the Illuminati, ladies and gentlemen, because those people don't get along with each other. So these people that are in this organization, the W organization, for example, they do not join the Illuminati at any point. They don't. They're two different organizations. It's like Christianity versus Judaism. They're separate. They're similar in nature, but they're separate. So that's something I'm going to explain to you guys. Now, in regards to this matter, a lot of those people, now this is something I'm going to explain to you guys in your W organization. You have a form of courts. They're called family courts. It doesn't matter whichever faith, whichever nationality you are. Let me just say this to you. If those mafia organizations, if those magical communities exist, which they do, if you get caught stealing, they have their own version of jail. Let me repeat that. They have their own version of jail. They sentence you to an actual jail. Instead of you going to regular state jail, you go to their version of federal jail. And that's not just the United States, that's in these other countries. Now, you may say, hey, John, what the heck are you talking about? The magical crimes. That's what's in these books that have to do with Zohar law. Now, in this book, or some of these books, they're supposed to have things with Zohar law. That's what Elohim's relatives did. Means Lord God has two relatives. One side of the relatives is Yahweh. The other side is Elohim's relatives. Another side of the family is El Shaddai's relatives. Another side is Jofi Rapha. They're not the same person, ladies and gentlemen. They're like a deck of cards. They're different sets of families. Now, let me explain to you something, which I'm going to address this to not only Kim Kardashian, I'm going to address this to you people that like to just make up stories. Okay? Now, I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to keep this as professional as possible. I'm going to make sure that this is also, it has to do with children as well. Do not, I repeat, if any of those people, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. If any of those people in the FBI, if any of those people that are in the police start saying they're Master Masons, you're not Master Masons anymore. Because let me just keep it real with you guys. Those organizations that you run, you had your stuff stolen by those people in the Kardashians and in the Trump family. Let me repeat that. Let me keep it real with you guys. Because in this faith right here, I don't like to BS you guys. When I went into court, I put my hand against the Holy Scriptures. I found out. It's like Steve Jobs' relatives. John C. Gaeta said the same thing to me. Those people in the Trumps and Kardashian, they stole. Those people stole. And you know what the problem is with those people, ladies and gentlemen? I'm just going to keep it real with you, like these deck of cards. You can't steal. Because it's not where I punish you, it's where the guy upstairs, God, he punishes you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Leviticus 19, okay, I'm just going to show it to you, to that specific section. So you're at least aware of that section. I'm not going to read it. You go to that specific section. You go to this specific page. It's 146 of this book, ladies and gentlemen. I'll definitely give it to you. You don't steal. In this whole section right here, number 19. You don't steal. Exodus 20, you don't steal. Because God himself and his family, they don't like thieves, ladies and gentlemen. And that's something I'll definitely tell you, Kim, and to your friends and relatives. You're trying to, I'm just going to keep it real. You're trying to do these gift card crimes. You're trying to do this Bitcoin stuff. That's going to have to stop. What I found out with the FBI and the police, I did not find any of that stuff funny. When your relatives, they are telling me you're stealing, and you're not telling these police officers the truth. That's what I find so crazy. And to you people, I'm going to leave this message in the secret society. To you people that find that this stealing is allowed, it's a comedy festival to me. So you're telling me, I had to do stuff for SAG. Not only did I have to do stuff for SAG, I did stuff for the police department, I did stuff for the FDNY. I testified throughout this stuff. Not only myself, but Steve Jobs' relatives testified as well. But you're telling me that in this faith whatsoever, you're allowing thieves to get away with serious crimes, with gift card crimes, with the Bitcoin and all 9 yards? You're allowing a group of celebrity people to come into the city and steal and get away with crimes. And these people have been stealing from your funding system. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave this message for you guys. I would suggest not playing stupid with the law, because it's dangerous. That's what I find hilarious. How you guys in the Illuminati, how you guys in the Master Masons, you're letting your own relatives steal from you. This is not tens of millions of, this is hundreds of millions of dollars, which I gave evidence over. And I went into court and I put my hand against the Holy Scriptures. And I told those people, you guys stole from religious organizations. You guys stole from the foreign intelligence. And what are you doing? And the other thing that has to do with certain things that have to do with my relatives. Some of those people own land. They own buildings. They own properties. If you're not speaking to the feds or you're not speaking to the police, you're going to end up in jail. They're going to put you in prison. And another thing I find hilarious, that's ridiculous. How are you guys actually doing taxes? You're BlackRock, you're Vanguard. How are you guys doing taxes if some of those things are listed in my family's name? How? You can't do it like that. Doesn't work. And I'm going to keep it real with you. You should actually speak to this Sam and Bell's relatives that are, Satan, etc. Those people, they have to speak to me. Not just in your courts, but in a council where God himself, Jesus Christ exists, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a story. And those people like these deck of cards, you can't lie to those people because they're immortal. They're not like you out there. You think Amun-Ra, you think these people like Odin or Thor, they ain't real. I'm telling you this, they're real. They're not imaginary. As God is my witness, the book is here. I met those people. They exist. And you cannot steal from those people because they'll put you in prison. So take care, guys. Have a pleasant and wonderful day.